right. What is going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing good this evening. Just taking a second here to make sure all the streams are up and live. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are live on Instagram and Twitter. Did I say Twitter? Anyway, so tonight I am going to be going over a little bit about my program and what I do for busy entrepreneurs to optimize their mental focus, clarity, their general well-being, their energy levels, and really help folks take their game to the next level in terms of their output, their cognitive performance, and helping them reinvest the energy and the earnings that they lose through poor or suboptimal health. You know, that's everything from lifestyle, sleep habits, diet, exercise, all the way up to the more nuanced and complex topics like lab testing, micronutrient profiles, non-clinical psychological profiling, building longitudinal data points as we work together for me to be able to assess your health and work with you as a partner to help take your business to the next level. Add 1, 2, 3 zeros to that annual income. So, like I said, tonight, it's going to be all about how I do what I do. And I actually recently just got some lab work back, and I thought it would be a good opportunity for me to go over it and just talk about how I go about doing that and how it fits for you. So, sort of lead by learning or learn by leading. So, I think it's going to be a good stream, and you guys are going to get a lot of value out of it, even just from an educational standpoint. So without much further ado, let's get into it. Now, I have a series of notes, which you guys know I love to use Evernote for. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up two things. I'm going to go ahead and pull up my lab work from this past week. I got a few quick tests done, and I've also got my notes up, and I'll have those side by side. So let's go ahead and bring this in here. 1 second. We do it live. All right, great. So I just want to make sure that you guys can see everything that's on the screen here. So let me just start off with the introduction, right? So before we get too heavy into, hang on. Yeah. So before we get too heavy into the labs, let me just introduce and tee things off for you guys so you understand. Introduction. So what does a health and focus and optimization coach do for an entrepreneur? Well, first of all, what is health optimization, right? So health optimization is about using verifiable metrics in combination with your anecdotal experience to optimize energy levels, cognition, and everything implicated in proper and or optimal function of the human body, and particularly how that impacts your brain. So that includes everything from hormone profiling, inflammation markers, micronutrient levels, metabolic markers indicating your metabolic health, you know, how you process your cholesterol, your glucose metabolism, and glucose transport and storage, you know, how you gain and lose weight, and measuring the effects of your lifestyle and any potential supplementation that you're doing. So, like I said, I'm going to go over my labs from the past week, and just show you guys the advantage of working with a health and focus optimization coach. I can pair the performance aspects of being an entrepreneur as one myself with the health data that we collect, and getting to know you personally, construct a profile of your health across time, measure and manage for improvements with your direct input and feedback. So I'm going to go over my lab results, full transparency. I'm going to demonstrate how health optimization and lab analysis is done, and how it can be used to formulate an intervention plan that can be acted out in partnership with a qualified medical provider. Remember, I'm not a doctor. So we do need to partner with your doctor to get things approved, prescribed, and just work the system any way we can. And there you have it. So Of course, this is not medical advice, and you should consult with your doctor before making any lifestyle, medication, supplement changes, and exercise, of course. So, first, I'm going to start off with just ordering labs. How do you order labs? So, I order my labs through, let me just bring this up full screen here. So, I order my labs through Quest Labs. And sorry, just a little bit of goofiness with the screen here. I order my labs through Quest Labs. And you guys can actually order your labs through me. Of course, that's not the only way you can get these labs. You can get them online at various websites like walkinlab.com, discountedlabs.com. I'm always going to keep it open and honest with you guys. You can also, of course, get them through a healthcare provider, functional medicine doctor, etc. So only difference with me is I know what to order you. For a wide variety of apertures to look at your health through in terms of cognitive health, optimal hormone function, metabolism, micronutrients, things that your average everyday doctor is not going to order for you. Because, as I'm sure you guys have heard from a lot, the doctors you've spoken to over the years, you look absolutely fine. So even if you look fine, like they say, you don't feel fine, or even if you just want to if you don't feel and work your best, things aren't going to be where you want them to be. I'm going to plug in my power here. You're not going to be where you want to be to, get to that next level of income. You're not going to have the time and energy for your family and friends as well. If you have kids, significant other, all of these things can be a huge obstacle, right? I don't believe in work-life balance myself, but obtaining that work-life synergy, right? That's super important. And you can't do that if you don't feel your best. So that's how you order labs. That's how I order mine. And like I said, as part of my health consultation package for entrepreneurs, we work together over a period of 3 to 6 months and longer, depending on if you want to continue working with me and for the long run. Labs are included as part of the process. They come in packages that you can purchase, and they're done every 6 to 8 weeks. So just have that information up front. And if, you don't want to go for those packages, you don't have to buy them from me, and I can help you find the labs that you're looking to get done either online, or we can work your health insurance to figure it out. So anyway, so that's how I order labs. And what I'm going to do is just do like a little bit of lab analysis for you guys here with these labs, so you can get a sense of how it is that I do it and what it would be like working together. But beyond that, just the educational piece, you guys will, be able to take this away feeling a little bit more informed next time you get some lab results back from the doctor. So how do I conduct the lab analysis? So first, I start with the in-range values and the out-of-range values. And then what I do from there, so I got a lot of stuff going on the screen here. And then what I do from there is I'm looking at the out-of-range values, and then I hone down to optimal versus suboptimal. So what that means is typically when you're looking at labs, let me just make sure you guys can see this okay. Typically, when you're looking at labs, you have certain stuff that might come up in like sort of bold. And typically, things will only be highlighted on a lab test when it's out of range. If it's normal, they're not going to highlight it for you. So I start with what's out of range, and I work to resolve those issues. So for me, just looking at this test here, I got my cholesterol checked out, a metabolic panel, and thyroid a very light thyroid panel as well. So for me, these are my labs. I would start off by working on the cholesterol piece, and then if I scroll down here, if you look at the bottom, I've got some thyroid related markers that are a bit out of whack as well. So we want to get the blue back to black, or into the green, or whatever you want to call it. So from there, once that's done in terms of lab optimization, and we would retest these things as we implemented solutions. Once you've gotten rid of the out of range markers, you then want to move on to looking at the individual values of each of these items and optimizing them. Because something that's not frequently discussed is what you call the reference ranges for the lab results that you get. So a reference range is what would be constituted as a normal range that the value falls between. So let's say for total cholesterol, there is a reference range from Quest Labs of less than 200 milligrams per deciliter, meaning that the average population across all ages of adults, their health, let's say a non-diseased person in this marker would have a total cholesterol of less than 200 milligrams per deciliter. Now, if I zoom in enough, you guys can see here, I actually have 245 milligrams per deciliter. So I'm out of and above the range. Similarly, I have a LDL cholesterol of 174, which is out of and above the reference range of less than 150 milligrams per deciliter. So what this is saying is my cholesterol is higher, and it's mostly LDL cholesterol that's doing it. My cholesterol is higher than and above that of the let's say the non-diseased population across all age groups. Now, where the optimal numbers come in is so you have your reference range. If you're below or in between the reference range, that means that you're considered healthy to the medical system in terms of the numbers you have, and you're considered to be in a non-disease state. You're considered to be healthy in that area. Now, optimization is getting first out of or in between the reference or below the reference, whatever is healthy in that context. And then optimization is finding the optimal number for you and for people in your age range, gender, and size, height, whatever it is. So obviously, a healthy state in someone who's 70 years old is not the same as the healthy state of a person who's 20 years old. Those people are going to have different physiological makeup. They're going to have different results in terms of lab markers. Also, their hormonal profiles will be different, as will probably their cholesterol metabolism. Inflammation may look different, etc. So, and that's all just based on height. Sorry, not height, but that's based on gender, age, level of physical fitness, etc. Right? So that's what one would consider to be optimizing in context of lab work. So, and of course, you collect those data points over time so that you get longitudinal data, right, which is an important part of having a health coach. To help you optimize your mindset, your cognition, your energy levels, so you can focus and hone in on your business goals, increasing your income, and having more energy for the people you actually want to spend time with. So, so that's typically how one would conduct a lab analysis. So, for example, like I said, if I'm talking about optimal. If you guys can see here. So you can see HDL cholesterol. HDL is considered the good cholesterol, right? So ideally, I want to have more of HDL cholesterol because it has, compared to LDL, HDL has protective properties and helps to remove excess cholesterol from plaque buildup in your arteries in the vascular system, and it has anti-inflammatory properties as well. So you can see here, this line right here, if you guys can see my cursor, I have an HDL of 51, but ideally that number is higher, right? I'm technically above the required reference range of equal to or greater than 40 milligrams per deciliter, but I would like that number to be higher ideally because it's cardioprotective, right? It protects your heart. So if I can increase my HDL from 51 to 60, 70, 80, maybe even 100, that will exert more of a cardioprotective effect per the effects of HDL cholesterol, because it helps to remove excess plaque buildup in the vasculature. So So that's one example of optimal, right? And there are many such cases like that where, let's say, if I'm looking at my testosterone levels, my testosterone could be, let's say, 300 nanograms per deciliter, but that's actually, it could be considered within range by the health insurance companies and the lab companies. But in reality, a healthy total testosterone level for a male of 20, 25, 30 years old is probably more like 800 nanograms per deciliter. So it might not even be blue on this paperwork here. You might not even be a tripwire there. You might think, oh, okay, the doctor hasn't said anything. Well, I'm great then. Frankly, a lot of the time that's not the case. And for cholesterol and testosterone are one example of that. So yeah, so building up that HDL will help protect my cardiovascular system against the buildup of LDL, right? Let's say if I have elevated LDL, and the higher the HDL, the more protective effect is exerted on your cardiovascular system. And I'll just briefly show you guys a little image here of that vascular system. So I don't want to get too deep into the heart, but just for example, you have your artery, the blood coming from the heart here on the left, your artery. Cholesterol can build up in there and also in the arterioles, which are these little tubular offshoots of the artery. And that can increase blood pressure, increase the risk of heart attack, increase the risk of stroke, blood clots. Obviously that's part of stroke, coronary artery disease, atherosclerosis, all in all a bad package. So if I have too much LDL and I have inflammation in the body, that can lead to a buildup of LDL in the artery walls. It can lead to over time plaque, and then it can lead to potentially a rupture, and then you have and then you're on your way to heart attack or a stroke. So HDL helps protect against that. Lowering LDL helps prevent that from happening in the first place. So I'm not going to go too deep into the heart setup there. And then another piece. So here's where health optimization and just physiology and biology in general gets interesting. So I showed you guys my cholesterol, but if you look down here at the bottom of the labs, you can also see my TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone, and something else called reverse T3. So TSH is produced as a mechanism of pushing your thyroid hormone to produce more, your thyroid to produce more hormones, essentially. So the higher your TSH, the more likely you are to develop something called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, otherwise known as thyroid autoimmunity, right? So a lot of people have heard of Hashimoto's. So a normal TSH, an optimal TSH would probably be something about 1 or 2, maybe 1. But mine is out of and above the reference range, which you can see on the right is actually 0.4 to 4.5. Now I'm saying optimal would be like 1 to 2, probably about 1 or just under 1. But I'm actually out and above the reference range, so I have early stage of potential disease going on here, namely autoimmunity of my thyroid. So the higher the TSH, the harder your body is pushing the thyroid to produce more thyroid hormone, likely because it's being attacked by these autoimmune antibodies that for some reason, genetic or, due to inflammation or some dysregulation of the immune system, is causing your body to attack your thyroid. So your body's pushing the thyroid harder to produce the same amount of thyroid hormone. Over time, if you don't treat that TSH number is going to go up and up and up until it reaches the hundreds, I think. And that's when you have actual full-blown Hashimoto's disease. So mine is considered right here as subclinical hypothyroidism, meaning it's not reached the level of a clinical diagnosis of Hashimoto's disease. Nonetheless, I'm not interested, and nor are you guys interested in waiting until I have a disease to do something about it, prevent it, or just optimizing my health in general. Um, so I'm looking into ways that I can address the thyroid issues that I have and the cholesterol issues that I have. And it gets particularly interesting because there's actually a connection between the thyroid and your cholesterol levels. So I have an image here just demonstrating some of those effects. If I can't find it, then I'll have to pull it up later. But essentially, the relationship between the thyroid and your cholesterol is that the thyroid hormones that your body produces in the form of what's called T3, which is the active thyroid hormone that does the work of metabolizing energy for for your tissues. It metabolizes. Um, if you have a reduced thyroid output, then your cholesterol, your LDL cholesterol, has been shown in many, many studies to actually increase. So even a subclinical reduction in your thyroid hormone can actually lead to an increase in LDL cholesterol. So um, oftentimes, people with Hashimoto's, if they're not being treated, can actually have cholesterol problems as well. So that's where the optimization piece comes in. So if you're looking at the body in a systems perspective, a doctor might just give you thyroid hormone and a beta blocker, right? So thyroid hormone to increase the and aid the thyroid with replace that thyroid hormone so that your body can continue its normal metabolism, and the beta blocker to reduce the cholesterol, right? But neither of those are actually treating the root cause. And for me, I have two genetic predispositions. One is actually for Hashimoto's disease. I have a parent who has that, and also the other side of the family has a history of high blood pressure and heart disease. My father is on beta blockers as well, so and possibly a statin. Statin helps to reduce, beta blockers reduce the blood pressure, and beta blockers reduce cholesterol. So I have this whole genetic profile going on, and it's kind of coalescing in this thyroid cholesterol interaction. So I say all of this to say the body, has all of these various interconnecting systems. And part of working with a health coach, health and focus optimization coach, is to help tease out all of these different things that are going on in your body and help reverse any potential disease states you have. But also, we're not just looking at your cholesterol and your thyroid, we're looking at your micronutrient levels, we're looking at the inflammation in your body, whether or not you have optimal testosterone, which of course is associated with optimal cognitive performance, energy, vigor, sexual desire, all of those things, and several more apertures to which you can look at and optimize your health. So this is just one example of something that can be prevented and reversed early on before it turns into an actual problem. And you could imagine all of the different things you can do with your body, by working with a health coach to optimize, turn around any lingering conditions you have, and just get also another opinion. Because frankly, a lot of the time when you're dealing with the medical system, they're just going to throw meds at you. They're not going to explain anything. They're not going to empower you to handle things yourself as well. And frankly, you're busy, so you don't have time to. As long as you're reasonably healthy, you don't have time to go in and out of doctors' offices just to get some bullshit answer from someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. And I'm not saying that's every doctor, all doctors, not saying that whatsoever, but it is out there. So with all of this analysis that we just did, right? What can you do with that information? So how, in combination with a health coach, can you put a plan together to optimize those health conditions, those biomarkers, etc.? So from my end, what I like to do is I like to start with the most efficacious, meaning most effective, but least invasive option. And sometimes those aren't the same thing, but I like to start with the least invasive option and work my way up. And that's called taking an evidence-based approach. So referring to literature, etc., and the latest scientific studies. So, and let me just share this here because I think you guys will find it valuable to see it on the screen. So let's zoom in and let's go. Hang on, bear with me here. Let's go wide. So, so least invasive, built and ideally most efficacious, but building up towards more invasive treatments as the things on the previous tier fail, if they fail, right? So ideally, you can fix a problem just by taking a supplement, just by changing your lifestyle, etc. But that doesn't always work. So it's important to start at the basics, though, and move upwards into the more potentially side effect heavy options as you go, right? You want to potentially have no side effects. So step one, in this particular case with the thyroid and the cholesterol, here's how I build a plan for myself and for, let's say, a client to basically map out their treatment plan or recommendations, right? And of course, this is done in combination with a healthcare provider, just to keep everything above board and keep your medical provider informed and included in the conversation. So for this cholesterol thyroid problem, I would start out with natural supplements. So there's a few different supplements you can take. These things, I'm trying to remember, like red yeast rice, that can lower LDL cholesterol, for example. There's a few others. These are, I know this already, though, unlikely to produce an effect beyond a reduction of potentially 10 to 15 LDL cholesterol points, 20 at the most, if there's a profound effect. So that would be the first step. Let's try and get that cholesterol number down just a little bit and see how much we can get it down with the most quote unquote natural compounds we can with the least side effects. So let's say that doesn't work, right? The next step is going to be we're exploring the connection between thyroid and cholesterol. Like I said, they're related. And the thyroid helps to eliminate LDL cholesterol. What I would want to do is look at addressing the thyroid issue by taking something called an immunomodulator, which basically helps balance out your immune system. Right? Modulator. So it's modulating your immune system to see if we can't quell some of that autoimmunity that's going on. That immunomodulator may improve thyroid function. So one such drug is naltrexone. I believe it's either a partial agonist or an agonist of the, I believe it's the opioid receptor. Alexa, which receptor does naltrexone agonize? Let's see if she knows. Alexa, what is naltrexone's mechanism of action?
Here's something I found on Dictionary. Naltrexone is a noun-meaning opioid antagonist.
Yes, it is an opioid receptor antagonist. So you guys know that obviously everybody's heard of opioids and opium, etc. They just bind to a specific little parking space in the body. The opium or the opioid goes into that space and then it produces its effect. So naltrexone and pretty much all drugs, they work this way. Not specifically for the opioid receptor, but they bind to a receptor, or they block the action of that receptor. Or they partially perform they can partially agonize that receptor. There's a few other things they do: inverse agonism, and partial antagonism, etc. So either they're enhancing the function or producing the function of that receptor, or they're preventing it, or they're modulating it in some way. And there's these things called allosteric modulators as well. So naltrexone would be the next step. And there's also a variety of peptides that are considered immunomodulators, and those can help calm an overactive immune system. Your traditional doctor is not going to go for peptide therapy, but there are peptide clinics out there. That's an option. And your traditional doctor will probably just skip steps 1, 2, 3, 4 and just go straight to the statins, right? But I'm trying to find a way to deal with the actual problem in the system. So let's say the low dose naltrexone doesn't work. From there, another possibility is I could explore, for the sake of experimentation, thyroid hormone replacement to help reduce the LDL, compensate for the autoimmune attacks on the thyroid. That's one possibility. Like I said, since those things are inversely related, as thyroid hormone goes down, LDL cholesterol goes up. If that doesn't work, then we can look at the standard medical treatments, such as statins. So statin is a well-known cholesterol medication that reduces LDL. I could hop on one of those, and statins reduce the amount of cholesterol synthesized by your liver, the LDL cholesterol. There's also other medications you can take either in combination with statins, such as an ARB or angiotensin receptor blocker, which lowers stress on the heart by reducing blood pressure, by binding to the AT1 receptors of the angiotensin receptor 1 of the heart. And there's a few more classes of drugs as well, which might be desirable due to my genetics, like to further have a cardioprotective effect and lower LDL cholesterol, lower blood pressure, etc. There's one drug called enzetamide, which I'm going to look into as well, which reduces the absorption of LDL cholesterol, presumably from food and by the body in general. So that's a pretty good overview of, let's say, the whole process, right? So let's say I'm the patient here, and I am investigating these labs, right? We've had a consultation, and obviously I don't want to display somebody else's medical records here without their permission. So we're working consultation. I'm looking at your labs. We're looking at what's either a disease state or pre-disease state, getting rid of that. And then we're optimizing the numbers that you have to, improve your output, your mental clarity, your energy levels when you wake up in the morning, just get you back to feeling like you did when you were 20, right? So, and then of course, so we look at those numbers. We look at the way the potential story that the lab work is telling us, right? Because it is really a story. Like if you just look at one sheet of labs, then that's kind of a snapshot, right? But if you have a series of labs over time, that's like a picture book, right? And pictures tell a story, right? Picture book tells a story. So from there, we can look at the story and then formulate a plan based on the mechanistic properties of the issue you're facing, and start to build an attack plan. And then, as you see, the next thing I do is I put together a plan starting from the least invasive, least side effect heavy option to treat the issue you're having, see if we can get it to go away. And we just move up through the different possibilities from there. So one thing I will say about that is that, in some cases, you do have to go straight for the medication. In some cases, the medication is exactly where you want to go. For example, if you have anxiety or depression, for one, it's hard to, lab tests. It's going to be inconclusive, very hard to point out. I'd say for anxiety, what you could do is a gut microbiome test, check your inflammation markers, etc., autoimmune markers. But if you're experiencing extreme anxiety, you probably just want to go ahead and hop on the medication for that. It's the best way to go, fastest way to go, and has the best track record of any treatments out there. So with that said, I wanted to take this time to go through with you guys the whole process, start to finish. Let's consider this as if we were on a consult. I treated myself as right? I acted with myself as the patient here to kind of provide you guys an insight into what one of these sessions looks like. So if you want to work with me, you can go ahead and go to my Instagram shoot me a DM, Twitter DM, Facebook message, whatever you guys want to do. I also on Instagram, I have a Calendly link. You can go ahead and schedule a consult so we can get together, talk about the issues you're facing, what your goals are with regard to growing and expanding your business, your energy levels, your mental clarity, how you want to feel and how you want to look every day. And of course, we could talk about business targets as well. And then finally, implementing lifestyle changes around all of this stuff, with performance in mind, with scheduling in mind, with ease of access in mind, with ease of maintaining the habits in mind. Basically, just allow me to lock you guys in on a track, make everything automated, easy, and you guys can connect with me via text. Within normal business hours, I'll respond to a text within 2 hours at the most. And we do a video call every few weeks, and we can do a call once a week as well. So just to give you guys an idea of what the program is like. If you have any other questions, don't be afraid to reach out. Definitely looking forward to talking with you guys more. And above all else, I hope this was informative. I hope you guys got an idea of how you can empower yourself to look at these things and not just leave it to a doctor. And frankly, don't always take what they say at face value, especially if there's something in blue that's highlighted. You want to check that out more. Just make sure we understand what's going on. So in conclusion, I hope this was helpful for you guys. Have a great day or evening wherever you're at. And let's work together. Let's get it going. I'm very passionate about helping folks to increase their income and just live the best life possible. And I know firsthand, when you're working 14, 16 hours a day, how difficult it can be to manage everything that you need to manage in a given day, from staff to service delivery to scaling to operational growing pains and mechanisms of building systems. So I've been there. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. And again, feel free to reach out. Let's get it going. And in the meantime, I will see you in the next video. Oh, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if you found this helpful. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.